right now, I have a bit of a surprise for you.
Geeter.
On the line. No, not Geeter. Better. I know it's going to be hard to be better, but better than Geeter.
Okay.
Kevin Harlan.
Did he say Dieter? Did he say Dieter as like who?
No, Kevin. Geeter McGee.
Chris McGee is the studio host, Kevin Harlan, for Lakers basketball on Spectrum Sports. I thought that's who was jumping in with us because he had texted us earlier. But this is an amazing surprise, Kevin Harlan, right between the eyes here on Sedano and Kap.
Kev, good afternoon. How are you, man?
I'm great. Sometimes I go in these shows, I don't even know who I'm going on with and probably don't even like them. You two guys, I love you two guys. I'm glad you called. Thanks. I'm glad to join you.
Well, it's great to have you, man. Now, Kev, I'm going to jump right into this because we're going to talk Lakers. We want to hear what you think because you're going to be calling the game tonight on TNT. Do you know that George and I are the only radio show on planet Earth, not just in America, on planet Earth, that does a bit called Dueling Harlans? Have you ever heard of this?
Oh, yes.
I have not, no.
Well, I'll start, Kevin. You'll hear me. Scott Kaplan wearing sunglasses, a black sweatshirt that says Cal Poly. It's actually a hoodie, and he's got his hair colored today. Not as good as he should, but still colored.
Here's Sedano bringing the ball up the floor. He's over the midcourt line. Sedano wearing the black hoodie with the eyeglasses, with both ears covered by the Sony headphones. He's got the ESPN microphone in front of him with the windscreen covering the microphone. See, Kev, we do descriptive Dueling Harlans. What do you think about this?
I like the description. I'm all about description. And knowing you two guys, great job. Well, I'm flattered.
Kevin, our pickleball team name, Kappy and I are a pickleball duo. And our team name was Dueling Harlans, just so you know, and it was an homage to you.
Why do you guys tell me this on the air and not just when we're just passing each other in the hallway or when we're talking?
Well, we hadn't seen you in a minute. I hadn't read. As a matter of fact, I had a game. I was calling the game on ESPN Radio last month, Dallas at home against Miami. And you were doing it with Reggie, and I walked over at halftime, but you weren't there yet, and then I had to run back because they were yelling at me. I needed to get back on the air.
You got to be kidding me.
I missed you. I missed you
about that.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. I mean, you were busy, so it's okay.
So, Kev, it's great to have you on the show, and believe it or not, this is the very first time that Kevin Harlan is coming on the Sedano and Kap show here on 710 in L.A. Kev, tonight, the Lakers and the Warriors, and this is such a monster game, and literally millions of people all throughout Los Angeles are listening right now. What do you think about the excitement of tonight's game? Because for all intent and purposes, Kev, it's a playoff game tonight.
Oh, it is. There's no doubt. And what is so great is it looks like all the stars will be healthy and will play. I think it's a game time on AD. I think he's going to walk through here. In fact, I think they're walking on the floor at the arena right now, and they're going to, I think, judge just how comfortable he is with or without the goggles, what the swelling's like, what his vision is like, and the way he plays the game and the way he has a commanding presence on the floor, his vision is everything. And if it's a nuisance, if it impairs him, I mean, there's a very good chance he wouldn't go. But, my gosh, the stakes don't get a whole lot higher than this. If Golden State wins, they, by virtue of a better division record, would have home court if 9-10 Lakers-Golden State goes at each other, and that game would be played up in San Francisco. If the Lakers win, of course, we know they get the season series, and now maybe they're going to try to pry their way even a little bit higher up in the order. And there's an Oklahoma City game going on tonight, which I know that these two teams are going to watch with great interest. And everybody is still involved. The 10 pieces are set. It's just what, position those pieces are going to be in. But when you've got Steph and Green and AD and LeBron, I mean, the star power doesn't get much better than that. And I can't wait to get over there. But they'll decide here in the next hour if AD is going to play tonight. My guess is he will, and if he does, that'll even energize the Lakers more, as if they needed anything at all. They played so well, 9-2 over the last 11 games.
Well, and the great Kevin Harlan joining us. He's calling the game action tonight on TNT, the NBA on TNT tonight here at Crypto.com Arena. So, Kevin, I was just going to allude to that. Not only are the Lakers playing their best basketball of the season at the moment, but so are the Warriors. They've won 6 of their last 7, I believe. And look, the fact that they're the 9-10, it's kind of strange positioning for LeBron James and Steph Curry to be in. But here we are, and the teams are playing their best basketball. But it just goes to show you how good the Western Conference has been this year, where Kevin Durant is fighting to try to stay out of the play-in. And these two teams are stuck where they're at despite playing so well of late.
George, insane, isn't it, how this season has developed? And last year, kind of the East was the talk of the league and how competitive the teams were. And then Miami came out of no place and started sideswiping Cleveland, and they started getting by New York, and they beat Milwaukee, and they climbed their way all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, and in 7 beat Boston. And that was, so captivating. And then here in the West, we had the Lakers come out of no place and do what they did against Denver and make it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. I don't know if one conference is better than the other, but the way it is going now, it feels like the talent is here. The budding stars are on this side of the ledger, and it sure is fun to watch. And I cannot wait for these playoffs to begin. Literally every matchup in the West has got some intrigue to it and star power associated with it, not to forget about the Clippers, who are right there and trying to stay buoyant and healthy and get to the finish line so they can have maybe what could be an incredible series against Dallas in a 4-5 matchup.
Well, and Kevin, the thing that's fascinating for me is that historically, we've seen that the young teams, they have to go through a bit of a struggle, right, before they are able to get through the rigors of the NBA playoffs. And the teams at the top are teams that don't have a ton of playoff experience. LeBron James has almost 3 times the playoff experience of the whole Oklahoma City roster, for God's sake. And the guys that have the majority of that experience are 2 guys that don't even play in Mike Muscala and Bismack Biyombo. How do you feel about these young teams? Are we kind of seeing a little bit of a passing of the torch, or do you believe ultimately experience is what matters the most, like we saw with Miami last year in the East?
Perhaps. And George, you guys know this, Scotty, that when you get to the playoffs, we've got days between games. So it's not back-to-back. It's not 3 and 4. There's space and there's practice time and there's recuperation time between the games. To me, that would be a nod toward veteran teams like the Lakers, like the Clippers, and like Golden State. Guys that have been down that road, know what's around every corner, and can traverse it the best way from experience. The young teams, the Minnesotas, the Oklahoma Cities, they right now are kind of feeling their way through the dark just a little bit, perhaps, to have lofty status, know that everybody's going after them, but to know that an 8 seed just last year that came from the play-in that had to win a couple games, lost the first, won the second, Miami, made it all the way through, knocking off the biggest teams, including Boston, in 7 games, and made it all the way to the finals. So when you've got that as kind of a carrot, so to speak, somewhat of a influencer that now that can take a team and put them, regardless of where they begin with the seeding, into any position they want, it means it's wide open. And by virtue of just all these teams, here's Golden State, 8 games over 500, and they're number 10 and not on life support because they're in the play-in, but certainly nothing that they can exhale with. I mean, that just shows you the strength. But I think an 8 seed easily in this conference can vault their way all the way up to the very, very top and make room, for these teams like Golden State, like the Lakers, that are lower seeded and can possibly, work their way through the next month and a half. I think anything is possible. Like I said, we just saw it with a veteran team in Miami with the Butlers and the Adebayos and those guys, Kevin Love, helping some younger players work through those times and certainly accomplish what no one thought they could, go from 8 and all the way to the finals of the NBA.
Hey, Kev, before you go, I know you got to hustle. You've literally watched LeBron's entire career courtside. George and I were just having this conversation before you came on. His three-point shooting efficiency was better this year than maybe it's ever been in his career, or certainly since his last MVP season in Cleveland. Are you surprised, like most of us, that's still at 39, pushing 40 years old, that he is still playing the way he is playing?
Well, he's wired differently than anybody else. So mentally, his game is so sharp and he knows everything and knows his body and knows the game and knows the opponent. So, like all those things, check, and check. It's can the body continue to go? But no one spends more time and more money on keeping their body the way it needs to be for this sport than LeBron James. And he's willing himself. You can just feel it, willing himself. Now, whether he plays with the Sun next year, I mean, who knows what all those entanglements will lead to. But I think he feels like there is definitely enough with this team. They made the right moves last year. They proved it February 1st in Boston when those two guys sat out, and the guys in back of them won and beat Boston. So he knows the team is ready. I think he likes the way it is configured, and I think he feels comfortable with his role on it. Without AD, certainly this team wouldn't be where they are. He is the catalyst. LeBron he's not passed it to him. He's not, seceded any leadership, but he has definitely, I think, realized where he is on that dais. And with that in mind, it's just, can I stay healthy? And he has. I mean, these guys have missed so few games, which to me is probably the most incredible story at 39, to have the number he's having, to have the team playing as well as they are, and for him to be at that condition, that health, that physical stature is just shocking. And every time I did his very first game. I did his very first NBA game in Sacramento. And I from that point to this, it's been a blink of the eye. And probably for him, he feels the same way too, like it's gone so fast. But I think he wants to hold on. And as long as his body cooperates, and it seems to be, we know the drive is there. We know the mind is there. If the body can just continue to stay at its level, we've got at least one more year, maybe more, with him. But this level of play is unprecedented. And aren't we lucky that we get the front row view to watch every movement, to watch everything he does?
No question about it. Kevin Harlan, the great Kevin Harlan, talking about LeBron James and the Lakers tonight. NBA on TNT. Kevin Harlan will have the call tonight on NBA on TNT. And here's the thing, Kevin. I just want to let you know that I have a group chat with a ton of friends before you go, okay? All sorts of fans from all over the country, different basketball teams they're fans of, different football teams. They never agree on anything except when you're calling one of their team's games. They are so excited when you're calling one of their team's games. They're like, Harlan tonight, we got it.
Well, that means it's big time.
Yes, and so we know that you are a legend as well. We appreciate you coming on the show. We appreciate your kindness and your friendship towards us. You are one of the best human beings alive. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Well, yeah, thank you for the kind words. My privilege to be on with you two of my friends in this business, and please call anytime. You guys are great, and I'll see you tonight. Hopefully over at the arena. But thanks for having me on, and you're very, very nice. Thank you.
We'll come over and say hello. And then, by the way, next time you're on the show, it's not going to be dueling Harlans. It's the Harlan Triumvirate. Okay, Kev?
I'm in.
Okay, here it's going to sound like this. Here's Steph Curry. He's gone through, and Curry now with the white jersey with the blue trim with 26.5 points per game, 44.8 field goal percentage.
Oh, you're doing a terrible Harlan.
I know. Here, go ahead, George. Get in here. Help me out.
LeBron James wearing number 23 in the purple and gold. LeBron James shooting 40% from downtown this season, a career high at 39 years old, Reggie.
All right, so you see, and then, Kev, you would jump in and school us.
And I'd say, here goes Kaplan against Sedano. Down the middle they come. Look at that right-hand dribble. Fakes right, cuts left, drives. Down the lane for two. What did I just see?
Oh,
Look
my
at that,
God.
Kappy. That's the only time
you'll... Breen on here. Does Breen come on here and do this stuff?
He doesn't do any of this kind of stuff.
You're
Breen,
the only one.
Nonsense, Breen.
As a matter of fact, I'm cutting this up. I am texting this sound to Mike Breen and say, Harlan has one-upped you. Now you need to come on.
Right.
And he needs to do Sedano for three over in Kaplan's face. Bang. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah, and give us a big bang. He'll do it. I bet he'll do it. You tell him the pressure's on.
You got
That's
that
it.
right.
I will.
Last week. You tell him the pressure's on.
All right,
Kevin,
we'll see you there tonight.
Have a great game.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
There he is.
You cut that, please. Please put that right out immediately.
That's the only time you'll ever score on me.
I mean, come on, dude. I mean, that is like the triumvirate right there.
Yeah.
The Harlan Triumvirate.
Yeah, put that in with like bit of the year,
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, certainly guest of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.